So underway then with the women's A race as part of the European 10,000 metre Cup here in Parliament Hill. Absolutely fantastic crowd that's now spectating all the way around the track, which is brilliant to see. And just look, if you just joined us, the digital pacemaking technology that's being trialled here. The green light is in fact the Olympic qualifying time. The red light, the World Championships qualifying time. There on the inside, that's Alona Hemtai-Salpeter of Israel, who won this race last year, of course, and we've just seen an Israeli victory. Okay, sure.
Shall I do it and then you take control of the race? Yeah.
Sure. Well, the great thing is that we've got split times. Yeah.
Hello and welcome to Parliament Hill for the Highgate Harriers Night of 10,000 metre PBs. We're live with the women's A race for the European 10,000 metre Cup. And Alex Seftel with 400 metres into this one and a really great racing prospect.
Fantastic. We've got beer, we've got a fantastic crowd, we've got a double-decker bus and a gong on the infield section. But also, look at that, the digital pacemaking technology wave light being tried here as Eilish McColgan just comes into the chasing pack, because this is our leader of Israel, Lona Salpeter, who won this race last year, and really I think it established her name on the scene before she took European gold as well in Berlin. Jess Andrews as well.
Yeah, what a story that was. Pretty much out of nowhere came through, took victory here, secured her spot for the Rio 2016 Olympics, and that was a great watch from a British perspective. But Salpeter from 2018, she set the fastest ever night of 10,000 metre PB for women here, 31:33:03, and she's, as you say, Alex, picking up where she left off. Eilish McColgan there or thereabouts at the front of the green wave light for the Olympic qualifying time.
Yeah.
Still early stages in this race.
Now we're getting split times, and you can follow them too on the Night of the 10K PB's website as well. They're available there. Salpeter, though, just looking so composed and confident out front. There is McColgan on the inside, the tall figure. But a quality Portuguese team can see some of their athletes out front, including Sara Moreira as well. All pretty much strung together, and we've seen such an exciting story to each one of these races, Scott, so far. It's been a great evening.
Yeah, certainly has been a fantastic day so far. We started with the first race at 2:15 this afternoon. We've had 7 10,000 metre races already. This the 8th of 9, and we're at the business end of the competition. We have the men's 10,000 metre Cup starting at 9:30 this evening, and that will conclude a fantastic day of action. So from a British perspective, this hosts the British Championships, and also the top 3, assuming they are under the world qualifying mark of 31 minutes 50 seconds, they will be going to Doha later this year, which kicks off at the end of September.
So Scott, 3 minutes and 5 for the opening kilometre. So Salpeter is well on her way to repeating the feat that she managed last year. I'm delighted to say that Tim Hutchings, fresh from the Diamond League in Lausanne last night, joins us here in Highgate. Tim, this is a fabulous event, quite unique in its character.
Absolutely, yeah. No, I mean, it's great to be here. Last year was my first experience of it, and I was blown away, and tonight just the same. You know, the atmosphere here, where you've got aficionados of distance running, many middle distance runners as well, who turn up and roar these athletes on lap after lap, it is unique. You know, I don't know anything like this. I know in California they have distance running festivals and big nights, but in the UK and the European theatre, this is very, very special indeed. I'm fascinated to see Salpeter go out in front like this so early on, leading, you know, after nearly 5 minutes of running, she's building up a big lead. It's easy to forget that 2 or 3 months back she ran a 2:19 marathon. She is strong as heck, you know, and if she's been putting some speed work after a decent recovery, then we could see something very special tonight. It could eclipse her win from last year.
Yeah, so the European 10,000 metre champion from Berlin as well. That's what she went on to do. But yes, this event's been dubbed the Glastonbury of athletics, one of the most exciting meets in track and field. Almost one of the newspaper columns saying it's the future of athletics as well. And we were just saying how we'd like to see some of the passion here channeled by other organisers just to see what's possible. as well.
Well, that's it, absolutely right. You know, and I mean, it's like no pressure at all when you call it the Glastonbury of track running. You know, the distance running. Glastonbury, I think, is the biggest pop festival in the world now. What was it, a couple of weeks ago? But yeah, you know, this idea is catching on. People understand this is the way it can go. It doesn't have to, but it can go this way. I think there was a 5K festival announced about 10 days ago, somewhere here in the UK. Forgive me for not having all the details. The template is definitely one that works.
Well, 74.1 second lap, well inside that target pace of 31.25. Needs 75.4 second laps on average.
How far the gap is back, it's around, well, nearly half a minute in fact, but 12. And McColgan, as you see down there, yeah, Steph Twell in the older shot following in district colours just on the inside there, the tall figure of McColgan on the outside, the two pacemakers then leading them, and those lights there. Fantastic that we've got this technology here, and I think it fits so well with the personality of this event.
Yeah, it does. You can see the lights there, the red lights coming through. The leaders are obviously being led along by yellowish lights or green-yellow lights. You know, and it's just another aspect to sort of try and rack up the excitement and entertainment for spectators. It does have a practical purpose as well, because it tells the crowds what sort of tempo the athletes are moving at, whether the lights have been set at national record pace or Olympic qualifying pace or whatever. So yeah, I love these innovations, you know. And here, Ben Poacher and his team with 5 laps to go. The gong man, the golden gong man. I'm sure that breaks some sort of copyright. I don't know, but it's a brilliant idea.
Yeah, it's been a great day, and we've seen in some of the races where the leader has pulled away from the rest of the pack very early on, like Salpeter has, and that wave light technology has really helped them pull.
Part of this chasing pack and concentrating on her race, but just look at this group of athletes, Verity Ockenden there, and then Charlotte Arter. So in what is effectively the second chasing group, they're a little bit more strung out.
You know what's interesting though is when you get somebody who goes out hard like this from the gun, and she's running opposite, she ran 3:05 and then 6:11 at 2K, so she's more or less on about 30-50 tempo. She's certainly on sub 31-minute tempo. It forces the rest of the field into a race that they might not necessarily have planned on. And they are running pretty hard there at the front. That chasing pack, I say at the front, that chasing pack behind Salpeter, she's operating on a different level. But that chasing pack there, about 8 or 10 women, are really at their limit. And this is what Eilish needs. She needs to be stretched if she's going to learn about 10,000 metre races. I think she dropped out of her first 10,000 a couple of months back. The rest of the field is spread-eagled. You know, this is a tough way to run 25 laps. When somebody goes hard from the gun, it's a sort of we take no prisoners policy, and it's admirable, but it makes it really tough for the whole field.
Well, it's interesting to note for the European 10,000 metre cup competition, each nation can have 6 athletes competing, and it's the top 3 athletes on time that are added together to get the rankings for the countries. And in the women's competition in 2018, when it was here at Highgate for the first time, Great Britain took gold, so they'll be looking to come away with back-to-back victories in 2019.
Yeah, so Salpeter, at the moment, her expected time of arrival, as the split times our computer is calling it, I love that, 31 minutes and 2, and then Steph 12, 31.27. So Salpeter's PB, 31.33 in fact. So it's a similar sort of effect that we've seen across these races. There was one athlete, I think it was Maya in the women's C race, who took 1 minute and 44 off a lifetime best. Absolutely extraordinary stuff. But then, of course, we've just seen a Swedish athlete in the men's B race go out too hard, managed to dig deep towards the end. I think Salpeter, I think you'll agree with me, Scott, she's an athlete of the sort of quality we don't expect her to get swallowed up by the pack and misjudge it in that same way.
No, she's an exceptional athlete of the highest order, and I think the standard here for her is, well, she's certainly better than the rest of the field on time, and in practice here she's already taking 50 metres out the rest of the field and enjoying those beer tents on the back straight and home straight.
She has slowed in that third kilometre. I mean, what was it at 3K? 9:18.55. So that second kilometre was, that third kilometre was about 3:07, something in that sort of order. So she's gone 3:05, 3:06, 3:07. You know, I hope she is able to maintain the tempo in that sort of 3:05, 3:06 range. It would lead her towards a sub 31-minute clocking, but very, very tough. I mean, this is the hardest way to run 25 laps from the front on your own like that. Yeah, you can prepare in training and ease off a few days out and you do everything right and mentally prepare. leading you through to this sort of level. And you've got to admire Eilish there, the tallest in this field by 2 or 3 inches. You look at her last 5-7 years. She's had so many injuries. She's had surgery. She tried the steeplechase, ran in 2012 in the steeplechase, the Olympic Games, and just found her body couldn't take the punishment of all the barrier work. Moved onto the flat, and it's really taken her 2 or 3 years to find her feet on the flat, so to speak. But boy, is she making a go of it now. She's already halfway through a wonderful season.
Well, in comparison to some of the other athletes in this field, she's got an exceptional 1,500 metres as well, just outside 4 minutes set this year. So she's in great shape. It'll be interesting to see if she can transfer that to the 10,000 here tonight at Highgate.
Bit more strung out at this point. Verity Ockenden just dropping off the back of this group. That's Sara Moreira as well, the experienced Portuguese athlete, European half marathon and indoor 3,000 metre champion in the past, now 33 years of age.
Well, at the moment, in terms of the rankings, Great Britain would see themselves come away with gold once again because they have 3 athletes highest up the current order. Unfortunately, Steph Twell, she's running in her Aldershot Farnham district there. She's not part of the GB 6 here this evening, so unfortunately her placing won't count towards the European 10,000 metre cup.
But still making a case for our strength in depth there.
I want to say this is metronomic running from Salpetta, but that 4th kilometre she went through in 12:28:33 was a 3:10. So she's gone 3:05, 3:06, 3:07, 3:10. They're not really closing up on her, but she's not getting away. I think that gap's staying about the same. The pacers, the 2 athletes in 2nd and 3rd who are pacemakers, that's why we're talking about McColgan there being and Twell being in 2nd and 3rd, really. They're actually in 4th and 5th, but they are the athletes who are going to carry on with the race. It's beginning to break down, that little group, isn't it? The Irish Vest, they're just beginning to lose a bit of ground.
Yeah, they have actually taken in the last 400 metres or so, or last 600 metres, they've taken around 1.5 seconds off that lead, so it's now down to about just under 5.5 seconds back to Steph Twell.
Well, Salpetta is very comfortable at the moment, but can she hold on to this pace? That's what it's all about.
You know, if you're in great shape for a 10,000, you go through halfway, cruising along, you should feel very comfortable. You shouldn't really having to start dig deep until about 7K, 8K. Then you have to start really focusing and working hard. And the Salpetta here does look in good shape to me, but maybe she's just having trouble finding that equilibrium of steady pace laps. You know, she wants to be running 73, 74s, she's running 75, 76. That may be down to form, but it may be just down to, you know, not being able to maintain a steady tempo herself, and that's where it would help so much if she had some company here and wasn't having to do all the work. That pack, by the way, you're right, she's definitely closing on her.
Yeah, just over 5 seconds now. I think it's at the point that they can maybe get a sense as they come through the half distance mark. 15 minutes 37 for Salpetta. So to the British athletes there, Sarah Inglis and Alice Wright, Moreira and Ockenden once again. So if you're just tuning into this coverage, it can be quite difficult to work out which is the home straight, which is the back straight because of all the paraphernalia in the way, but this is the home straight. The Strava tent on the back straight. There's the Wave Light technology, the digital pacemaker, but Salpetta without either a human or a digital pacemaker at this stage. Girona and Jep Ketter just looking behind. See Steph Twell is there on the inside and looks anxious to get on with this race because she perhaps has a sense that the gap might be closing.
That 5th kilometre as they went through in 15:37 was the 3:09. So Salpetta beginning to rally just a little bit. Maybe she's got a sniff of the fact that they were closing on it. She might have got a shout from the sidelines, I don't know, but there's Ali Dixon, great marathon racer. It's going to be lapped pretty soon. No shame in that. This is a sprint for her, for the northeasterner. But I wonder how long these pacemakers are going to be there for Steph Twell and Liz McCall. One pacemaker left for the pair of them. I would quite like to see them without the pacemaker and strike out and try and chase Salpetta now, because Salpetta has just slowed down. You know, she's on now, what, 31:15 tempo, and that was well within the compass of Eilish McColgan and Steph Twell. So they need now to be able to cut loose and go at it and maybe share the pace, share the work this second half.
Well, those two know each other so well, have battled hard over many different distances in the British Vest
area. If you're familiar with this part of London, or even if you're not, Salpetta, this is on the back straight then. putting a lap on a number of athletes now. Twell and McColgan, as you were then in second and third.
You know what, Alex, that 6th kilometre, they went through 6K, or Salpeter went through 6K in 18:44. Still 10 laps from home. It's very, very tough indeed.
Well, another 75-second lap as the crowd here at Highgate with their lane 3 beer and cheer getting really stuck into the action. They've been so noisy all day from the very first race, cheering everyone on, from the men's F race to the women's A race.
I don't know if you guys have talked about Salpeter's back.
And whatnot. I've never seen that before. Oh, apart from last year. So sort of lightning
Was that in the
striking
5,000
twice.
she did it in
the
Berlin?
5,000, yes.
And it happened in the World Championships in '87 in Rome in the 10,000 last lap he's ever had to do. So it is horrible to experience that, getting the lap count wrong.
That mistake by Salpeter. We were confused there because you've got Louise Small in the same colours as Steph Twell there, who's just had a lap put on her. And then so has the Dutch athlete Rastenberg, who's represented her country at the Olympics, Worlds and Europe. 5 seconds still, so they're starting to close once more.
Yeah, that 7th kilometre, 21:53 for Salpeter was 3:09. So she's gone 3:10, 3:09, 3:07, 3:09. Still under 3:10 tempo, which would be, what, 31:40 pace, but her predicted winning time still around 31:15, 31:20. I'm sure she'll rally over the final 3 or 4 laps, but I really would like to see Eilish and or Steph Twell now push on and start trying to close that gap, win the race. Don't keep behind that pacemaker and head for just a good time. I say just a good time. They're both working so hard, and I think Eilish might be showing signs of struggling, but I would love to see them push on.
Well, they're both ahead, the Brits, of the Olympic qualifying time of 31:25, and it's worth noting the conditions here, about 18 degrees at the moment on Parliament Hill. Not really any breeze at all. It's been perfectly still most of the day, so good conditions this evening here. The women's A race, Steph Twell, Aldershot Farnham District, taking it in a huge personal best, 31:08.10. Salpeter of Israel, 31:15.80. Eilish McColgan of Great Britain, 31:16.83. Those the podium places here at Highgate